raise the question, are journalists in Pakistan being targeted by the ISI? And join me tonight to answer that question, Wajahat S. Khan. He's joining us live on Skype from Islamabad. Welcome on CNN Wajahat. Give us a sense, Wajahat, of what really is happening on the ground. Because just till the other day, I was hearing stories here in Pakistan about Geo News having apologized to the ISI. Now I see that Geo News is suing ISI. What really is going on there?
Hi, Bopan. Thanks for having me on the show. It's great to finally connect. Listen, I'm going to give you, because you crossed the border and don't have a lot of time for details, I'm going to give you the big picture analysis. The big picture analysis is that for like 60-something years, this country was primarily run between the civ-mil divide. The civil guys on one side, the military guys on the other side. Around the early 2000s, there was a third player, the media. And by the late 2000s, there was a fourth player, the judiciary. Now, in India, that might come as news, but in Pakistan, that was a pretty big deal, because all of a sudden, one institution, the military largely, which had dominated all the narratives in so many ways, whether through direct rule or indirect rule, all of a sudden had two more players to deal with, the media and the judiciary in this case. And there was a clear alliance. And out of the media, Geo was the big powerhouse. It was, without a doubt, the closest analogy I can give you is like the News Corp of Pakistan. So many ratings, so many eyeballs. And obviously, the powers that be were a little, well concerned about the outreach of this channel. Peace initiatives with India, airing Voice of America programming, huge, brave initiatives from Geo's perspective, which were rocking the boat. And then that fateful day in mid-April when Hamid Mir got shot, the coverage, frankly, being a part of the Geo network, and a very proud network it is, Bhupin. Unfortunately, we've come to the conclusion that our coverage that day was not the most dispassionate. We all got caught up. People in the newsroom didn't react very well. And the rest, as they say, is history. Despite the on-again, off-again apologies, Geo has still stuck to its guns and has, decided that if it's going to go down, it's going to go down guns blazing. And that's where this latest and groundbreaking defamation lawsuit against the ISI comes in. God, this is the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, and here's a network which is not on air suing one of the most fearsome intelligence agencies in the world. So, yeah, lots of topsy-turvy stuff going on. But just to give you a perspective, that's what Geo is right now. Nothing but static. Nothing at all. And that's going to be the cost of media freedom for now. We don't know whether Geo will return. If we believe the government, it's going to be 15 days, sure. But I'm talking about operationally, because they've also managed, and you know who they are, I'm not going to take any names here, but they've also largely managed to cut off Geo's legs. Cable operators have been threatened. Geo was off air before it was officially off air, if you know what I mean. So tough times for Pakistani media, but an interesting new front on the civil-military divide. Open?
Right. No, but I was just, looking at many stories, Wajahat, over the last few weeks, not just few days, where the number of attacks, in fact, I've become a part of a mailing list from Pakistan, and I sometimes really wonder what's going on in Pakistan as far as journalists are concerned, because there's so many stories which are now coming out of attacks taking place against journalists there, of open threats being resorted to. Given that context, Wajahat, what's the possibility that the reason why Geo may well have filed this defamation suit against the ISI is because maybe Geo is also looking for some kind of an out-of-court settlement on its own terms with the government? Is that a possibility according to you?
Listen, there was the matrix from Geo's perspective. Four things needed to happen as far as the options were concerned. Obviously, the powers that be wanted Geo to shut down completely, the licenses revoked. That's not happening. The thing they wanted after that was certain people's heads to roll. That's not happening either. Nobody's been fired since the debacle. And there was, once again, there was a lot of misreporting that very night when Hamid was shot. The last two options have happened. And many thanks to the government backing Geo. It's a beleaguered government. This government has a lot of baggage when it comes to the military. But the government did, to a large extent, support Jio for 2 months. It took the pressure, almost 2 months, it took the pressure of not completely revoking Jio's licenses. And what we have, therefore, is a 15-day ban and a 1 crore rupee fine, which isn't much in the larger scheme of things. It's more symbolic. But once again, I want to remind everyone that this is a very different country as far as reporting is concerned versus India. I mean, there's so many front lines here. There's so many go-go areas here.
You know, I couldn't agree more with you, Vajad.
There's the frontier. You know, it's a tough place to report.
I couldn't agree more with you. I couldn't agree more with you because sometimes I do believe that in India, you know, the way we question our politicians, the kind of stories we do, we take a lot of this freedom for granted. And then when I look at what's happening in Pakistan, I sometimes wonder whether there is, you know, too much of our media freedom which we end up taking for granted without realizing what could happen, say, in countries like Pakistan. But the point that you're making, Vajad, are you suggesting that there is a possibility that the elected government of Pakistan could work as some kind of a mediator between Jio on one side and the ISI on the other? I mean, are you suggesting that we haven't yet heard the last in this chapter, which is playing out between the drama, if I was to call it, between the ISI and Jio?
That's largely what's happened. You know what the best part is that, I mean, I was joking around with some friends the other day about this, that frankly, a military, a very proud military, which used to test nuclear weapons without really telling anyone and run counter border ops, cross-border ops without really telling anyone, is now struggling to shut down a news channel. So this military's changed too. It's ceded a lot of ground, voluntarily ceded a lot of ground, and that's a kind of a big deal in the larger scheme of things, Bhupin. Okay. But as far as this government is concerned, absolutely, it's played a mediator. Right. It's been between a rock and a hard place. The rock, of course, is the establishment, the ISI, the army, the brass, etc. And the hard place, of course, is media freedom, press, democracy, the you know, basic stuff, human rights, man. I mean, it's not that complicated. Right. This government has promised to change Pakistan through the economy, through good governance. And a part of good governance is delivering service mechanisms like free speech and guaranteed freedoms of expression. All right. That's not happening. And thus, this government has, very interestingly, played the role of a mediator while, frankly, it was asked to be an adjudicator. All right. So I just hope, though, that this government hasn't overplayed its mediator card.
Well, I just hope that all my journalist friends in Pakistan just end up being safe. That's the only thing that I can say in conclusion.
Thanks,
but Vajad, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us a comprehensive picture in terms of what really is happening in Pakistan. Never an easy country, either to govern or to report. That's Pakistan.